I'm just doing a bit of work on these two beds now, getting the weeds out and levelling them off. I've got some gutters of peas in the cold frame. I'm desperate to go out. They've actually gone a bit pale colour. I think they lack of nutrients, so as soon as I can get them in here, the better. And also in this bed, I'm going to clear that up, shift all the rubbish off, because I need to start sowing the parsnips as well. I've given the gutters a good watering, and in the trench I've watered that and just give it a dusting of fish blood and bone, and that will help the roots get going and hopefully put some decent size down. Because I'm still getting the gusts of high winds occasionally there, I've decided to put this plastic cloche over the peas just to give them a bit more protection for the day or two, and hopefully by then the winds will be gone. In the meantime, I've prepared this bed. This is one half of this anyway, is where the parsnips are going to be. I've done this with just the fork digging over, and because last year this was the potato bed and had lots of manure on, so digging down there, the soil's just black and crumbly. Any little lumps, just get a little tap with the back of the fork and they soon break up. So that's ready for the parsnips whenever I'm ready. Here in the West Midlands, reading on the forums, it appears we've been rather fortunate gardening wise in that we've had some decent rain over the last day or two. And the ground's nice and damp now, ideal planting out weather. I'm going to be sorting out my celery next, putting those out. There's quite a few people have issues growing celery. I don't know whether it's the variety I grow or what, but I don't have no problem. In fact, this seems to grow with abuse quite often. When I've sown the plants, pricked them out, very often I forget to water them and them wilting like that. Pop them in water and them bolt upright. As you can see from these are nice sturdy specimens, and they'll be going out. The only thing I've ever changed with these was the method of sowing, and that was a tip given to me by a fellow gardener named Carl, who mentioned about putting them into the fridge overnight, soaking in water, and then just pour the seeds with the liquid onto the sowing compost. The germination's fast and very good, and that's the way I've done it, and as you can see, them are fairly good. So let's get out and get them planted. Despite the sun being out, it's quite chilly this morning. Definite nip in the air, but hopefully that'll burn off a little bit later on. So with that rain we had yesterday, the day before, it's made the soil, it's fantastic for planting. The stuff is going in really easy, and it'll help them take off once I'm in the ground. I'm planting these about 6 inches apart. And what they'll do, they'll muscle each other out the way, and it'll help blanch the stems. Although this is a self-blanching variety, it's called Latham self-blanching. It's a variety I grow each year. But like these tend to look after themselves. I probably won't touch these again until harvest, maybe a bit of weeding, and of course make sure you keep these hydrated. It's very difficult to overwater celery. So I'll carry on with these, show you when I've finished. So that's it, all planted. I've just added that mesh framework over the top. There's a little bit of added extra protection, mainly against the fox. so I wouldn't want him to come digging round there, not so early on anyway. Give him a chance to get the roots down. It's still quite cold out here, so I'm going to pop into the greenhouse now for a warm and do something in there. Oh, I can't believe how cold it's gone, but at least it's nice and warm in here. What I'm going to be doing now is sowing my swede, and this variety here is called Tweed F1. Compost I'm using is the Bathgate Champions Blend, peat free. Just fill these cell trays up, give them a little tap. Now most of you will probably sow your swedes direct into the ground, but wherever possible I like to do my sowing in some form of modular trays. A couple of reasons. First of all, it can control the environment, so if you need to give them a bit of extra heat or something, you can do it like that. And the other reason is when I plant out there, I know that I'm going to have no gaps in the rows, which is like a fetish. I like to see rows and that rather than gaps here and there, because I've had that happen in the past when I've sown direct. So I'm going to put these in here and I'll show you when I've finished. And that's it, all done. So there's 24 cells in there. I'll probably only need around about 12, but it'll allow for any misfires or anything like that. I'm going to be popping them into the cold greenhouse over on the allotment. That rain we had the last few days has really paid off. The soil has got moist and it's sunk quite a way down, which makes putting these holes in a bit easier. I'm just knocking this down with trusty Thor, and the pole's marked probably about 18 inches deep, just under half a metre. The good thing with the soil being thoroughly moist, it retains the shape of this conical hole, ready to receive the compost that I'm going to be sifting in a minute. This will produce a decent sized parsnip, quite big at the top, tapering down to a point. There'll be no long taproot on like they do for the shows, but after all, these are for eating, so it's not for show, and this wasted there, all I'm after is something to eat. I did have a bit of a bonus find. Thought this bag here, and it was a bag of sifted compost that I did for last year and I got left over. It's a little bit moist, so I might have to help it down with a stick, but even so, it's really fine. See, looking at that, I think it's already done it. Yeah, it's gone right there down to the bottom, so that's great. I don't think there's enough in there. This is a Bathgate Champions Blend that I did last year and it was good results. I think I'll have to mix some more, but even so, that's helped a great deal. Any new gardeners out there, it's be wise to sow your parsnips on a calm day, because in the past I've been doing this, had the gust of wind, and before you know it, these are cast all over the bed. When handling the seeds, some people prefer to get a little stick like this, wet the end and just touch the seed, and you'll find it happily stick to it and you can place it where you need to. So that's another job done and dusted, put to bed, ticked off the list. I say ticked off the list, you tick one off and another one appears, but I suppose that's gardening. I've given this a fine watering over the top with an ultra fine rose, the hose number 2, and what that does is actually settle the compost down onto the seed. Now normally for the top layer of compost I'd use added vermiculite in there as well, but I've run out. I'm still waiting for that to be delivered, so that when it does arrive I'll just sprinkle a bit on. This method of sowing might seem laborious and long-winded, but for me this way works. I've tried the conventional way of using drills and I've got misshape and thingy. These more consistent. I do thin the parsnips out once they start come up, actually trim the unwanted ones off just below soil level. I don't actually pull them out because of risk of damaging the ones I want to keep. And also I prefer to sow directly into the soil. I know there's quite a few people who actually pre-germinate by chitting onto damp towel and that, but for me, anything with a sensitive taproot like parsnips and carrots, I like to do a direct sowing. If you'd like to see how I do this in more detail, from actually preparing the soil, sowing, doing the holes, sifting the compost, down to harvesting, I have done a full, more detailed video in the Growing Made Easy series, and there'll be a little picture come up there. Have a look for that in the playlist, and also a link down below. So that's about it for this one. Once again, many thanks for watching. In the next one, I'll be planting the onions out. In fact, I'll be doing that tomorrow, but it'll be in the next video for you. So that's about it. Stay safe all. See you later. Bye for now.